Bastrop, Texas is well known for its rich history, natural beauty, and an authentic vibe that you just can't find anywhere else. The City of Bastrop is proud to bring you Overheard at City Hall, a podcast aimed at bringing you, our community, inside the walls of City Hall to get to know the hardworking men and women of the City of Bastrop who wake up every day to serve you, our citizens. Join us as we discuss the many topics that on any given day may be overheard at City Hall.
Hello, Bastrop. I'm City Manager Paul Hofmann, and this is episode number 9 of the official City of Bastrop podcast that we lovingly refer to as Overheard at City Hall. And visiting with me today is Ann Franklin, our City Secretary. And Ann, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what the City Secretary does, because I think there's probably a lot of folks who really don't have a handle on just what that position entails. So I'll let you flesh that out. But first, I wanted to share, you are the first city employee with the City of Bastrop that I met. You, I guess, welcomed all of the interviewees when we came to Bastrop to be interviewed. And I remember telling my wife, and I'm not sure I'm going to get this job, but that is the friendliest and kindest city secretary I think I've ever met. And I thought, gee, I hope all City of Bastrop employees are as nice. And then I come to meet them, and they're not. Well, it's a nice group of people, but thank you a year later for being as welcoming as you were and still are, and the person you are to work with and how you do your job. So talk a little bit about the role of the city secretary.
Okay. The role, well, first of all, I've been with the City of Bastrop for 6 years. Actually, on Tuesday, it was 6 years.
Okay.
And the role of the city secretary's office is to, we are the keeper of all of the documents, the ordinances, we keep the resolutions, we keep minutes for council. We are there to help council and the city manager with whatever they need, document-wise, administrative-wise, clerically. We're there to do whatever we can to help make the city run as smoothly and as welcoming to the citizens as possible.
Well, yeah.
And we make sure that the minutes are captured correctly. Mm-hmm. And anytime citizens are wanting to get a copy of anything that council passed, we're there to provide them with the copies. We take care of open records requests. And as you can see, we do a lot of things. We wear many hats. Mm-hmm. Some things are listed and some are under the disguise of other duties as, other duties as they come along. So
sure, and there's a lot of local law and state law that govern how you do things, and might have you dive into that a little bit more as we go. But hearing how you just described all of that, it reminds me of the extent to which you and I have something in common that's a little different from perhaps other city department directors, and that's the close working relationship we both have with the Bastrop City Council. You have a very direct, providing an important service role to the mayor and the mayor pro tem as they prepare for council meetings and prepare to run council meetings, but to the entire council as well. And interestingly, I think that starts with the whole election process. And people may not realize that the City of Bastrop, with your leadership, manages how that whole electoral process goes. You want to talk about that and our relationship with the county and how that works?
Yes. So the elections, we hold our elections in May.
Right.
It's a uniform election day that we hold our elections on. We actually have an election annually. We don't get to skip a year. The way ours fall, it's annually because the council members are elected for 3-year terms. Mm-hmm. And so we hold the election every May. Mm-hmm. We start accepting applications generally in the month of January. Those applications are collected, received until February. And during that time, I get to meet many interesting people.
Right.
Everyone that come in the door, whether they submit an application, pick up a candidate packet, or if they're just asking questions, I have to view them as my potential boss.
That's exactly right.
Because they are my potential boss.
Sure. And so here in Bastrop, we have 5 council members and a mayor.
Yes.
And they each serve 3-year terms.
Correct.
And we stagger the elections. So you were saying we have an election every year. We specifically elect 2 of those positions every year, yes, assuming it's a contested race.
Right.
And so this next year, 2 of the positions are up in May, and those 2 positions are council members.
It's Councilmember Peterson and Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Peterson terms out this term.
He's term limited.
Yes, he's term limited. Councilmember Jackson is allowed to run again if he so chooses to do so. Right.
And so that election happens in May of 2022, and then in May of 23 there will be another election, and in this one it's the mayor's position.
Right, the mayor and the mayor pro tem.
And the mayor, the position that is currently held by the mayor pro tem.
Right.
And of course, and so this is interesting too, I think, that everything we just described about how the specific electoral process for council members works in Bastrop is not the same throughout the state. Right? We are a home rule city,
yes,
and that means we get to establish, the voters of Bastrop get to establish a city charter that governs how we run the city, and that includes the electoral process.
Right.
And so the fact that our council members serve at large and not
yes,
specific geographic districts, that's established by the charter. The fact that they serve 3-year terms, that's established by the city charter.
Yes.
And the fact that they serve, they're limited to 2 terms, that's established by the city charter as well. And our city charter says that every few years we will review it, so every few years there's an opportunity to rethink all that.
Yes.
Again, all subject to the city council. I mean, to the vote of the people.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and we do meet a lot of interesting people that way, and we put a lot of care into making sure we're providing good information. I know this last year, before this most recent election, once we knew who the candidates were, we met with them in an orientation to go over things like how the city charter works, how the budget works, the major priorities established by the current city council, and how that is implemented in each of the city operating departments, right?
That's correct.
Right, because they are all potentially our bosses.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's how council members get to be council members, right? And the mayor's position is a member of the city council, and here's another specific of the city charter, and it's not like this in every other city. Here in Bastrop, the mayor doesn't vote.
Right, unless it's to break a tie.
Unless there's a tie. So there's a mayor, 5 voting members of the council, and immediately after the new council's installed, new council members are installed, and I think this is a city charter provision too, they immediately are asked to appoint a mayor pro tem.
That's correct, and it is a charter direction.
Right,
the charter.
And the mayor pro tem serves as mayor when the mayor is unable to.
Right. Correct.
And so the mayor runs the meetings.
Right.
The mayor has purview over the agenda, and meetings are run in accordance with rules of procedure, right?
That's correct, which are adopted annually or amended annually.
Right, and just at the most recent council meeting, the council updated the most recent version of the rules of procedure. Right. So talk a little bit about the rules of procedure and what they include and what's that all about?
So the rules of procedures give guidelines on how to conduct the meeting.
Right.
It lays out what is on the agenda for the meetings. how the meetings are called, who the meetings are called by.
Right. How items get on the council agenda.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
And it actually goes into detail describing what each section, what it includes.
Right.
In that section. It also describes who can call a meeting and how that's done. And so it also tells about the mayor pro tem and what the mayor pro tem's duties are in the absence of a mayor, and how many constitutes a quorum.
And the expectations for citizen involvement and engagement. There's a citizen comments part of the agenda that's actually required by state law and Open Meetings Act and all of that.
Right.
But here in Bastrop, the rules and procedures do a very nice job of laying out how that will happen, and I think maybe balance is the right word here. Balance is the need for transparency and easy access from the public to their elected officials with decorum.
Right.
And I think this particular council and mayor handles that really, really well, and that's very well laid out in the rules of procedure. You can get your point across without being disruptive.
Absolutely.
And it's not that I've witnessed any concerns in that regard since I've been here, but I do appreciate the way the rules of procedures lay that out, and the way the mayor here in particular approaches that.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so council meetings, again, this is a city charter thing. There's 2 of them a month.
Yes, that's correct.
Second and fourth Tuesdays.
Right.
And that's where the city's business gets conducted.
Yes.
And you and I meet every week with the mayor and the mayor pro tem. We have these meetings on Tuesdays. That's the 1 week before the actual meeting, and we specifically go over the council agenda, because again, it's not my job or your job to make that ultimate decision about what council considers. But we do have an important role to play in terms of presenting suggested consideration items from the staff team, and you manage that process. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So we have a running list from the staff of upcoming items, and you do a very good job of keeping council abreast of what's coming up.
Well, thank you.
And so we use that in our meetings with the staff to make sure that things are. A lot of the items have they're time sensitive.
Right.
So we're abreast of what's coming down the pike and what needs to go on the agenda, and we make the council aware, and the mayor and mayor pro tem, when we meet, we make them aware of what's going to be on the agenda.
Right.
And those items come from staff. Staff provides me with all of the agreements, any contracts that we have to have with those items. We make sure that those are with the items. Everything is done with transparency. Council is provided with all the information that we can provide them to make an informed decision, and to be able to study all of the documents and do their homework before they actually come to the dais, to have a great and informed conversation before they even pass those items. So it's not done lightly. And we as staff go through and vet that information before it even goes to council. And then the mayor and the mayor pro tem and myself and you and the assistant city managers have the meeting over the agenda, and we review what's on the agenda, and we go over it again to make sure we've got everything we need and anticipate any questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, that's all very, very well said, and that is a really important part of our jobs. Again, council members being our boss, it is really wise to make sure we're doing everything we can to help them make informed decisions and not surprise them. That is the worst thing you can do is pull a surprise on the city council.
Right.
Right.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not. And so I don't want to get ahead of council decision making here in the budget process, but I think this is a good time to mention that we presented the budget just this week,
right.
and one of the items we're asking council to consider, and we're talking about this, is software for an improved agenda management process, and again, we're not budgeting a lot of money for this,
right.
and these software packages aren't terribly expensive, but to make more efficient how that process works.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And back to the rules of procedure, one of the things Councilmember Rogers emphasized at Tuesday's meeting is that those rules of procedures don't just apply to the city council meetings, right. They also apply to all of our boards and commissions.
That's correct.
And we haven't talked about that yet either, right? I mean, one of the many hats you wear as well is to coordinate that process that the mayor goes through to
right.
make appointments to vacant positions on boards and commissions. And we're going through that process right now. Why don't you talk about that a bit?
Yes, we are. It's that time of the year to recruit and bring in new new board members. So we right now we're in the process of accepting applications, which that deadline is, I believe, the 13th of August is going to be the deadline to accept those applications. At that time, the mayor will go through and she'll vet the applications, look at them, and we keep a running list of what vacancies we have on the board. So at all times, I keep her aware of what vacancies are there. And so once those applications are accepted, she'll go through, she'll look at them, and she'll make, before she makes a suggestion to council, council will have an interview process.
Right.
And that'll be a 2-day process. I believe it's August the 23rd and 25th.
Right.
Is the application.
We're not asking applicants to come in for 2 days.
No.
But this is a two-day process for the city council.
That's correct.
Right.
It's a 2-day process. We schedule those applications once the mayor's vetted the applications and it's she's decided who's qualified for what position. Then we have them come in and council will interview. I call the applicants and set up an interview at their convenience. I let them know what we have available.
Right.
And we set up those appointments and they come in and council will interview them. After that, at the September meeting, I believe it's the first meeting in September, the mayor will bring her suggestions to council. It's on the agenda. Council will vote on those and make the approval of the new board members. At this time, we also accept applications for board members that their terms are up. And so that's looked at as well. If the member wants to reapply, want to be reappointed, then they will submit their application as well. So once those members have been appointed, then we have a boards and commission orientation.
Right.
However,
that the city attorney leads.
Yes, the city attorney does a fabulous job with that.
Yes, he does.
And
actually inserts a good bit of city attorney humor.
Yes,
in that,
he does.
As he does.
He makes it it's not boring at all, and it's very, very
Trust
informative.
us, it's not that boring.
No,
right.
we walk away with more knowledge than we had when we went into it.
Right.
However, during the course of the year, if there's an opening for a board, the mayor will make those appointments as well. We take it
mid-year.
to council.
Sure.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Again, good job explaining all that. The mayor makes the appointments and council confirms them.
Yes.
Right. And serving on a Bastrop board or commission is an excellent way for somebody to get involved in some pretty interesting things, especially here in Bastrop with so much going on. And forgive me if I don't remember a complete list, but some of these boards we call them statutory boards because we are required to have these boards by state law.
Right.
Like a planning and zoning commission is, if we have a comprehensive plan and we have a zoning ordinance, and this is actually a legal requirement. Same way with the zoning board of adjustment.
Right.
We have a construction standards board.
Yes.
We have a the city owns and operates a cemetery, the Fairview Cemetery. So we have an advisory board that guides our decision making on the cemetery. We have a Bird City and Parks board that's very active and does a great job with advising the Public Works Department on initiatives impacting our parks.
Right.
We have a Historic Landmark Commission,
Yes.
and that's a really important board as well. And I know I'm missing one.
Well, and then we have the Cultural Arts.
We do.
We
Brand
have
new
that,
board,
yes.
just recently created, the
Right.
Cultural Arts Commission,
Right.
that's responsible for implementing the Cultural Arts Master Plan.
Right.
Thank you.
And then we're connected, but it's a little bit different with the BEDC board and the housing. We have
Exactly.
those.
Thank you. So the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation,
Yes.
that's also prescribed by state law.
Exactly.
Because we do at a public vote several years ago, we collect a 0.5 cent sales tax and put that into economic development, and that is managed by appointed by council but independent board, the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation. Yeah, terrific. So you sound like a pretty busy person. That sounds like a lot of stuff. But foundationally and fundamentally important to the role is that role of record keeper.
Yes.
Right, and you are the city's documents manager,
Right.
which is a giant job in and of itself. And I know one of my, I guess, operational priorities since I've been city manager is for us to be on top of that as well as we can. And thank you and Victoria, your deputy city secretary, for putting as much work into that as you have. And not just you, but there's that initiative goes throughout all departments, and we've made some real headway these last few months. Just making sure we don't have paper around where we don't need to have paper. And I know at City Hall, we need to be thinking about how to more efficiently use the space. We are looking to be bringing on some additional staff and just making sure that where we need staff to sit, where there's paper files before, and storage areas that we're looking to convert into office space. So, and we're still working through all that, and that's been a big initiative, and so thank you for that. I see you brought something really interesting here. Speaking of records, this is a minutes book, right?
Yes, it is, and it goes back to 1893.
Oh my goodness!
And it's actually handwritten. It's in like calligraphy.
Yeah.
So.
And it's tabbed. Somebody's been doing research.
Yes, research and putting it into Laserfish.
Okay.
So we have several books like this. They're very delicate.
Right.
And find some interesting information in here as well. So if you ever have time to just kind of sit and peruse it a little bit, you'll probably be surprised at what you find in here.
maybe I don't want to know.
You might not.
Well, that's really, so where do you keep this?
We keep these in a vault at City Hall.
If somebody wanted to come and take a look at it.
People are welcome to make an appointment to come in and view them. We cannot let them leave our office.
No.
But they're welcome to sit. We will provide them with a space to sit and look at the book.
And so what are those old-fashioned data storage devices?
Yeah, about this, I didn't know if you were going to want me to do like a little time capsule. Maybe we could put this in. This is old
May as well,
information.
because you can't
That's right.
read any of that anymore.
There's no way to retrieve information from this, so or we could maybe make it a coaster. We're just trying to figure out what we're going to do with it.
We'll get Rebecca to stick the city logo on it, and
there you go.
That'll be just great. Right. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Ann, this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
for
for taking the time away from your busy day and be part of our podcast.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it. You are a joy to work with. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoy working for the city of Bastrop.
Cool. Thank you.